AITA for leaving the call when my brother announced that his GF is pregnant. My brother and I do not get on. When we were younger he'd go out of his way to make my life a living hell. To my parents' credit, they did tell him off for it when they caught him, but they both worked long hours and didn't have the energy to deal with our arguments. This continued into adulthood. He was salty that he failed his college course the first time around. There was a bad argument in our family a while ago, and, I shit you not, it all started because I refused to decorate my brother's living room. I won't go into too much detail, but he wanted a pretty hefty discount. I said no, and he threw a tantrum. You really need to meet my brother to understand just how bad he is, but hopefully this post will do it some justice. Instead of being a grown up and talking to me, he decided to hook up with my toxic ex-girlfriend and the mother of my child. Due to the rules here, I can't go into a lot of detail about what she was like, but she was not a nice person. She never really bonded with our son when he was born, and I was left to do everything by myself. She eventually walked out on us and refused to have any contact with our son. She'll post on Facebook now and then about her beautiful baby boy to get sympathy votes, but that's about it. I have been a single dad for almost 3 years now, and I absolutely adore my son, but it hurts to think that one day he might question why his mum didn't want anything to do with him. How am I supposed to explain that to him? Anyway, it bothered me when my brother told me they'd hooked up together. It hurt even more when he started dating her. It had taken me so long to get over what she did to me and my child, and now my own brother was bringing her back into my life. Yesterday we had a family video call. Parents are high risk and we are not taking any chances. When my brother decided to announce that he and my ex were expecting, I just froze. I didn't know what to do or think. I could feel myself starting to cry a little bit, and it got a bit harder to breathe. Eventually I decided to just congratulate them and then made up some lie about needing to put my son down for a nap and left. I received a bunch of messages from my brother and his GF telling me that I stole their thunder after I left. My parents and some other family members started worrying if I was okay and not really focusing on their news. My uncle told me that I should have just been a man and stuck it out instead of making excuses to get out of it. After all, it was expected that our kids would be raised around each other. I feel like maybe I shouldn't have left the call, but at the same time it would have been worse if I'd stayed and had a full-blown panic attack in front of everyone. Some of the family members are split and have argued that I won't be able to avoid my brother and his family forever, but others believe I was in the right to leave that situation. I don't know what to think. Edit. I just wanted to say thank you first of all for all the support. I fell asleep last night and woke up to so many kind and supportive comments. A lot of people have been asking how my parents feel about this. They aren't happy, but they don't have the energy to deal with all the hassle my brother would cause. They actually cut him off for a little while when he started dating my ex, but he phoned them constantly, and, again, can't go into much detail, but he said he'd do something not so good. They keep him at arm's length, but I have told them not to cut contact because of me. If they want to cut contact on their own accord, then that's fine, but I do not want to be the reason that they have to deal with his tantrums. The rest of the family, for the most part, weren't happy about it but accepted it, or pretended to, when they started getting a bit more serious. My uncle, who told me to be a man, thought it was funny. That's just the kind of person he is. I think as hard as it might be, I'm going to cut off contact with my brother and ex, as a lot of people pointed out. Not for my sake, but for the sake of my son. I don't want to put him through all that. Sorry I can't reply to all your comments, but I've been trying to read them all. Thanks again, Reddit. NTA. Your kid is gonna grow up with half siblings, but think they're cousins. His aunt will actually be his mum, who wants nothing to do with him. And they are trying to make you think you're the asshole here? Nope. No way. No how. NL. Not. No. You are totally in the right here, and you need to protect your kid from that toxic mess of a family. Honestly, the way you worded it made me realize even more just how messed up this situation is. My son is going to think his mum is his aunt. This is a mess. Thank you though. I feel harsh saying it, but it might be healthier for your son to not have any contact with his egg donor, uncle, or half sibling / cousin once he's old enough to understand how fucked the situation is, which will happen. He's going to have a lot of emotions about it if he has an entire childhood of spending time with his cousin and aunt only to learn that she was the mother who abandoned him. But she somehow loves her other child enough to be a mom to them. That's going to duck him up for years. It's going to hurt no matter what. But you have the chance to shield him from an entire childhood of very painful lies. You're definitely NTA. And anyone who thinks you should be okay with this kind of betrayal against your son is a person you don't need to waste any consideration on. Also reiterating what many have said before, your son is entitled to child support. It's your job to make sure he gets it. NTA. Even a little bit. You did the only reasonable thing you could do under the circumstances. And you 100% do not have to play along with whatever happy families nonsense they're up to. So your kids are going to be raised together and you can't avoid your brother forever? Nah, you get a say in that. My friend. You very much can avoid your brother forever, and honestly, I'd recommend you do. This whole situation is a horrible toxic mess. You and your son deserve better. I suppose I just thought that they'd meet at family events and stuff if the pandemic ever goes away, and I'd just have to act like they were cousins and not weird half siblings. I don't think I will be putting my son in that sort of environment. Nothing against my brother's child. They are completely innocent. But it's not a good environment for him. Thank you. Op. I'm so very sorry about this. Your brother is clearly a redacted, and your ex sounds like she's just nuts. First, you're so very NTA for leaving the call. I'm just amazed you made it off without losing it at him. Second, might I suggest, if the budget allows, sometime with an MFT, marriage, and family therapist. Not because I think you need therapy, but because they are trained in dealing with complicated family issues and in helping people find ways through them. It seems to me that having someone you can unload all this on and say I need to protect my kid and myself and try and have some relationship with my parents, help and get some assistance in figuring out ways to do that would be really beneficial here. You're a good dad and a good son. Don't let some sick people twist you into thinking you're not. NTA. My uncle told me that I should have just been a man and stuck it out instead of making excuses. Your family is toxic as hell. Would uncle be okay with his brother had a child with the mother of his kids? WTF is wrong with people? Cut them all out. Uncle should be a man and mind his own goddamn business rather than sticking his nose in or turn around and tell the brother to be a man and choose his family over some woman. At least toxic masculinity should be logical. NTA. I hope you have a custody agreement in place and child support set up. If not, you should do it before she has this child. You want yours on the books when / in case this relationship goes south too. And since it sounds like it is rooted in spite on both their parts, the relationship ending sounds pretty likely. I don't currently have anything in place, but that is a really good idea. I'll be sure to get something sorted out. I doubt their relationship will last too, though I feel terrible for their baby. That child is completely innocent in all this. Please get child support set up. Both her and your brother need to realize that skipping out of your child's life doesn't mean she can avoid the legal responsibility of providing for him. They need to realize what's in their future and that she can't avoid bills by just running. NTA. Your brother and ex are obviously, but also the family members who think you need to be supportive / involved, and especially your uncle. The idea that a woman who abandoned her child with one brother and currently offers no support, emotional or financial, should be celebrated for getting pregnant with the other brother is baffling. Within 2 years he's going to be a single dad. Blame you for it and expect your support. Cut them both out of your life completely or as much as you can legally. The idea that a woman who abandoned her child with one brother and currently offers no support, emotional or financial, should be celebrated for getting pregnant with the other brother is baffling. Agreed. It's hilarious the couple thought Op stole their thunder. The only sound I hear after reading that story is the sound of banjos. I expect their baby shower will take place in the alley in which the child was conceived. How much you want to bet the brother role-played as Op during the act, and that it was his idea? NTA. You handled that quite well. I'm sure a lot of people, myself included, would not have handled that situation so well. I understand from your replies to others that you wish to keep the peace for your parents, and while that is commendable, I do wonder how healthy that is for both you and your son in the long run. I'd honestly consider going no contact with your brother and ex. Especially if you have full custody and there are no court-ordered visitations for your ex. I'd cut the rest of the family out as well, if they can't understand how messed up it is for this to be happening. If you stick it out with them to keep the peace, your son will not be happy when he's older. He will know his aunt is his mom and she wanted nothing to do with him, while raising his half-sibling right in front of him. If she sticks around, that is. The amount of trauma that can cause your son is not worth keeping the peace for your parents. My heart goes out to you both and hope you can manage to find a way that will be good for you and your son. You do make a very good point. I do not want any of this hassle to land on my parents' doorstep, but I'd also hate to traumatize my child. I'd never forgive myself for letting that happen. I might have a talk with my parents and try to figure something out. Thank you. Stay firm. They don't get to negotiate this. These are boundaries set for your child's safety. Your well-being also. You need to be in your best position to be able to support your little one. You tell them what to expect. They don't get to dictate to you. Mum, Dad, I'll do my best to come to events and I won't break our relationship. But understand if there are events and he and she are there, I won't be coming, as I cannot with a clear heart and mind tell my child his mother is his auntie, or that his mother is here, but with a family she wanted to keep. Please understand if I'm ever tricked into showing up and they are there or arrive later, I will leave to keep the peace. When it is appropriate and reasonable to do so, I will be open with my child about his mother, but I will not expose my child to this without considering his needs and position in life beforehand. I need to approach this the best I can, and acting on impulse or first thought is not wise and will only make things worse. This situation needs deep consideration before deciding how to move forward with my child's best interest at heart. I appreciate your respect for my parenting and life choices and for your understanding and patience during this complicated time in our lives. NTA. But you're writing about college and decorating when your family is this dysfunctional? My brother and I don't get on is the understatement of the year. And you're worried about whether leaving the call was rude. WTF. Stand up for yourself, or you're going to be arguing about whether your kid and Thiz, they are half siblings after all, will be growing up together with the whole family cheering that on. NTA, if you haven't already got full custody, I would 1. Go to the courts and file abandonment and get full custody, and to cut them off completely. Do not tell any family member or friend about this. Because now they are having a baby together, she may think she can come back into his life and play mum and him play stepdad/uncle. Having another kid may make her want him back / your brother wanting your child as well as your ex. Make sure you full custody so they can't play games and come in and out his life. I'd also start documenting everything in case she does the same again and ditches this new baby. Cut your brother off fully, because this is a no-go. He betrayed. Your family suck if they stick up for him. He's with the woman who abandoned your child. Of course you wouldn't take it well. Why have another kid when you refuse to look after the first? If you don't have a lawyer already, get one. If your brother does enjoy making your life hell, just imagine what it will be like if they stay together. She'll cry about her other child, and he'll badger you to bring them over to bond. Ensure eventually they'll fight for full custody. Get ahead of it now, before they can do that. Even if it means giving her visitation. It's better than 50/50 or losing custody. Unfortunately, as a guy, you're looked down upon in custody hearings. NTA. I don't know how your parents are, but cut contact with that brother. If your family started to bring him into your life again, cut contact with them as well. I also won't recommend your son seeing your brother's son. 2 toxic parents, and imagine what the baby will end up being. NTA. So sorry you're dealing with this. I don't have any advice to give other than just keep your head up. Hey, and don't listen to the be a man thing. We are human beings and we have emotions. Let emotions happen, but don't let them take control, because it's easy to get stuck and wallow. NTA. I'd say you reacted pretty well, all things considered. I think you acted maturely, considering the situation and how you felt you were about to react. People like your uncle are completely lacking in empathy for what happened to you. You would be completely justified in going NC with your brother. NTA. Your brother and your ex is straight up evil. He's messing with a little 3-year-old child just to get back at you. I think you need to completely cut your brother and ex out of your life. Has your ex signed away her parental rights? I also think you have to have a really serious talk with your parents. How you will not subject your child to this torment. That you want to have a relationship with them, but none with your brother, ever. I'm sorry about all of this. I can't imagine how you're feeling for your child, especially with your own brother and ex-girlfriend. I won't lie, it's a bit weird that he'd go out with her as you literally have got a child. I think you did the right thing because you was feeling uncomfortable. I get the same feelings. When I have anxiety coming over me, all you want to do is get out of it because it's making you worried and you might start freaking out. I think you're not in the wrong at all. In my opinion, humans have emotions. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you can't show emotions. You can definitely start showing your feelings. It's not right for you to be feeling like you shouldn't have cried or had an anxious moment. It's your choice. So I think you're not in the wrong zone. AITA, I would just be playing along with it now and being happier. I'm sorry about my spelling mistakes. NTA / you would not be in any way, shape or form. This situation calls for no contact. None. I get why you are trying to be nice for your parents' sake, but stop. Call your parents and let them know you are no longer able to maintain any sort of relationship with either your brother or your ex. You need to do this not only for your mental health, but for your child's. And then block them, and your uncle too. Jesus. NTA, your ex and your brother are the worst kind of people. And I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this. I would recommend cutting contact with them. It seems like the healthiest situation for your child, seeing as their child will be his cousin and half sibling. It's not fair for him to grow up with his mother so close yet having nothing to do with him. If she even sticks around for the new baby, which honestly doesn't seem likely. NTA, you handled it much better than I would. I most definitely would have said something petty like, I wonder if she'll stick around for this one. I would cut all contact with them for the sake of your son. Your job is to protect your kid, not other people's feelings. NTA, you acted reasonably in an unreasonable situation. You don't owe your brother or his GF anything further in this matter. If I were in your shoes, I'd feel free to exit future calls entirely, or take a 5-minute break. Anytime such content arises, others in your family can pound sand. If they don't like that, be kind to yourself. It doesn't look like anyone else's. Okay, I haven't seen this mentioned yet, and I'm more than halfway through the comments. You did handle this like a man. You were gracious and then removed yourself from the situation without causing any further upset or embarrassment. That's the best any of us could hope to do. The reason your brother and ex are so upset with you is because that isn't what they wanted from you. They wanted you to react badly. They wanted you to freak out, scream, cuss, cry, hurl insults, to demand they split up and that she end the pregnancy, to call her a negligent mother, to call him a horrible brother, and to start a family civil war and force everyone on the call to choose sides. You did none of that, and that pissed them off. Now they have to live with the poor choices they made purely out of their mutual spite for you, without even having the satisfaction of seeing your angry outburst about it. What fun is there in that for them? Sarcasm there. Believe that she will do the same thing to him and their child that she did to you and your son. Believe that he will not have a clue what to do when she does. You have every right to go no contact with them and their child, and remain in contact with your parents. As I've seen you mention in other comments that your parents are very important to you. It will be harder that way, but it can be done. I did it with my sister before my mom died. We were extremely low to no contact. Now completely no contact. Best decision I've ever made in my life. Cutting out that much toxicity is life changing. I hope you can find a way to do it for both you and your son's sake. NTA, go no contact with your brother and ex. Thief created this mess who hooks up with their siblings' ex. Numpties do. Cousin half siblings is gonna be awkward to explain to your son, but just be as honest as you can at age appropriate times. Get child support for your son and put it in an account for his future. She can't be bothered raising him, then she needs to contribute. In cutting them off, you don't need to cut your parents off. I think everyone in her family are assholes. Why would they encourage that relationship instead of shun them, especially your parents? Why would they give their blessings to the woman who walked out on their grandchild to only hook up with the uncle of the child? It's beyond sick, and I would not let it slide with them. Ugh, I'm so sorry to read this one. You are anti-A, and you sound like you're doing your best to raise your son in a healthy and positive way. That's awesome. Honestly, for me, I would be tempted to go no contact with them both after this. No one in your family can judge you, because I can pretty much guarantee that none of them have been in this situation. I only hope she's more committed to this child for their sake, and maybe she could realize her mistakes from her first child. But I doubt it. You do whatever you need to do. I'm a single mother with a complicated BD. For a kid's sake, he was not a good person. He is now, and is in my kid's life. But I honestly regret that decision to allow him about 70-80% of the time. It's gonna be so hard to explain to my kid how her dad and I conceived her and how we broke up. I never wanna lie to her. He only came back once he had another kid. Here's my warning. Get a custody lawyer. Get full custody. Have her sign her rights. And then cut them off before the new baby is born. Cause no doubt their revenge at some point will turn towards your son. I thought I had BD drama, but JFC, you take the whole cake with your crazy BM drama. Also, if she does fight you for custody, here's the thing. Your brother will be his stepdad, and I wouldn't doubt he would abuse him every day. And unless he has a history and or is on the registry, he can see your son. Do not do any visits with her. Count every day she hasn't been there. Slam her with child support. And then offer her an escape, signing over parental rights due to abandonment. Tell her that if she wants nothing to do with your son, and you'll do her a kindness and not charge support, but do it quickly. The fake stories on this site are exhausting. Why does every story include family/friends immediately calling to lecture the op? I don't know anyone who has uncle/aunt/friends/cousins start calling with lectures when they get into a fight with a sibling. Could you guys come up with more believable templates? I don't know if this actually happened, but you're lucky you don't have a toxic family lol. When conflict happens among my cousins, there are always lectures. I limit my contact with family now that I'm older, but in my younger years, my family made drama over everything. I couldn't even say something to a sibling without getting a phone call later from someone in the family freaking out. It was terrible. So glad I don't put up with it anymore. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.